Agility in business has become an imperative to remain competitive and relevant with clients and consumers all over the world. And the agility of your organization is enabled by a culture that's agile. So how do you build a more agile culture in the workforce? I got you. Let's get into it. In this video, you're going to learn 4 tactics that will help you begin building a more agile culture in your team or organization. What you should be prioritizing as it relates to decision making, what you must bust down, what is critical to build every day, and finally, what you must establish and live out loud in everything you and your team does. Tactic number 1 in decision making, prioritize ownership over consensus. An agile culture pushes decision-making authority down the organization to avoid those points of friction that are created when multiple levels of an organization need to review and approve any level of action moving forward. So as a leader, or really wherever you sit in your organization, strive to push decision authority as best you can down to your team, which is going to empower and enable them to move their deliverables forward more quickly and efficiently, not requiring your eyes and your approval in order to move things forward. Tactic number 2, bust bureaucracy whenever and wherever possible. Processes, standard operating procedures, and systems can so often get in the way of moving quickly when there's a new business imperative or some type of competitive threat. Though it often helps ensure rigor and in many ways is required in heavily regulated industries, bureaucracy can so often stand in the way of moving quickly throughout the business, creating friction across the organization. You know, I'm seeing this play out really loudly in the healthcare industry, which is one of the target industries of Change Enthusiasm Global. I'm experiencing and working with these huge pharmaceutical clients that are, of course, heavily regulated, but that industry is becoming more and more competitive as more players are entering into the space, players that are integrating technology and innovation and moving at a very quick pace. And so these large pharmaceutical companies are requiring their organization to become more agile so that they can respond more quickly to these competitive threats. But because of the level of bureaucracy that has historically been steeped inside of the organization, it's creating a lot of tension in order to become more agile because they're used to following these processes and these systems and all of these different levels of approval, which is essentially standing in the way of them becoming more agile. And so they are working systematically to bust down the bureaucracy, which is really getting in the way and not ultimately necessary. Really striving to streamline. What is it that we have to do in order to remain in line in regulations such that we're actually supporting our patients and our clients? But what can we let go of to increase that level of agility? And it's something that's happening all across the pharmaceutical industry. So use that as incentive, as motivation, that wherever you sit as a leader in your organization, strive to understand, okay, where can I streamline processes? What do I not necessarily have to do and still be able to deliver the business with excellence? The more that you can bust down, break down that bureaucracy, the more and more agile the organization will become because you're going to be reducing those points of friction. By the way, you getting value from this? Make sure that you subscribe. I drop videos like this all the time across this channel. I want to make sure that you're getting the latest in your inbox. So click subscribe right now. I know you can do it. Use the finger, the mouse, click it. You got this. All right, let's get back into it. Tactic number 3, build trust. Now, this one really goes hand in hand with the first tactic around pushing decision authority down throughout the organization. The only way that that's going to be effective is if you've nurtured trust throughout the organization. And so often this requires a feedback loop, right? I always like that quote, to trust but verify. So allow those in the organization to have that decision authority, but make sure you're keeping an eye out on the decisions that they're making. And if there needs to be correction, right? You're granting trust in that individual to make the right decisions. And it's up to them to actually take that trust and do what's right. If they prove to you that they can't be trusted, then that's just an individual that won't have that level of decision authority. But hopefully it's an incentive to them to actually make the right decisions so that they have more autonomy in their work. So make sure you're nurturing that trust as best you can. The fourth and final tactic: establish and work through purpose. Agile organizations carry this type of energy within their culture that propels business forward. Whenever a competitive threat is known, whenever a new business imperative is sitting down, maybe you're embarking upon a new transformation, there's an energy, there's a vibrance in the organization that's really propelled by a sense of purpose, of belief, and actually the mission of the business, the type of work that you're doing. You have a culture that's comprised of individuals that believes in the work, that gets up every day wanting to live that purpose out loud. And so when a threat comes along, when something happens that might endanger that purpose or not allow them to live that purpose out loud to do the work, they're going to respond quickly and passionately, right? Self-actualize to figure out, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to show up in this moment so that we can keep moving this business forward and that we can remain on track? So be nurturing that purpose, that belief, right? The why of the work that you do. And I'm telling you, the most agile organizations are comprised of a huge critical mass of individuals that believe in the work, that believe in the mission, and want to give their all to living that mission out loud. Before you go, I got something for you, and it's for free. So as we think about agile cultures, as we think about nurturing and building those cultures, often that requires a lot of change and complexity. Well, I actually want to share with you a keynote recording snippet of a keynote that I delivered to an organization going through tremendous change, facing external pressures as well as internal organizational change. And it's the portion of the keynote where I'm talking about leading others through change to empower and inspire their growth. And I want to offer that keynote snippet to you for free. All you got to do is click on the link below in the show notes. I want to make sure you have the insights, the data, the research to accelerate your growth and the growth of your team through even your greatest change and culture transformation challenges. I'm Cassandra Worthy, and until we meet again, keep growing, keep rocking.